Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is David Kruger, and this is Alpha Shift Radio, the Alpha Shift podcast. Tonight, I have a very special guest with me, a good friend. Her name is Marilyn Moore. She is a relationship coach and public speaker. She is the co-founder of Jochari. She uses many techniques and ideas, and what she does is she alleviates stress points in relationships, all kinds of relationships, intimate relationships, relationships with your coworkers, relationships with children, parents, neighbors, really anybody. Marilyn is a grandmother, a homeschool mom, a house flipper, a holistic wellness consultant, and a retired minister's wife of 30 years. And now she's breaking into a new career that enables her to use her myriad and many years of experience and interpersonal skills in a really exciting way that's helping a lot of people. So she calls herself a relationship mentor, and she helps people unravel stress points in their relationships, which, as my listeners know, is a key thing in the Alpha Shift. Marilyn, please say hello.
Hello, David.
It's so good to have you on the show, finally.
Thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I'm really excited about the talk that we're going to have tonight. I have hinted to my listeners about some of the healing modalities that I have great interest in, including I Ching systems, which is how you and I met. And so, in your own words, can you tell us a little bit about the work that you're doing with people?
Well, the underpinning of it all is understanding yourself in a way that allows you not to judge yourself. But we sort of come through the back door because we use the I Ching cards to help relax us a little bit or a lot. And when we're relaxed, it's kind of easier to take the information in. It's kind of easier to be easy on ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So it's multifaceted. We use color, we use sound, we use much information from the I Ching system on how we are wired energetically.
Yes.
And that's what I'm going to tap on tonight with you. I'm going to use you as my guinea pig.
Awesome, Marilyn. I have not given my listeners a very good basis on what I Ching is. Would you mind providing them a kind of a basic explanation of I Ching systems and what the instruments do?
Well, they do a lot, and probably the first thing they do is help calm your system. I wasn't expecting this question because I've been with it. I've been using it for so many years, and to me, it's just like, it's there. I wouldn't do it without it.
Right.
So the explanation is, well, it's taking the I Ching, which is the ancient knowledge, Chinese knowledge,
mm-hmm.
The Book of Change, and putting it into a context that benefits modern society. John Miller, who is one of the founders of the company, he takes the designs and he creates artwork with it, and they put some elements in it, and it's the color, it's the shape, it's the elements that are in it, and simply holding it brings about transformation.
I have seen.
And when you couple that with information that you can relate to, and it's very usable and user-friendly, it's like a powerhouse. It's like it's very synergistic.
Yeah.
They both go hand in hand, the information and using the technology.
Yeah, absolutely. I just started using the I Ching instruments in August of 2019, and I have seen some pretty unbelievable improvements in my life. The Fibonacci instrument has been shockingly effective. I was just emailing with Lee at I Ching Systems just today. I was getting some information from her, and I said, "Yeah, life is freaking me out, but at least I've got I've got the balancing instruments, and so I'm feeling pretty good. Things that a couple of years ago I would have been freaking out. I'm like, yeah, it's going to be okay." And so it really can do miraculous stuff.
Yeah, it feels like it's miraculous. It almost feels like it's magic.
Yeah.
Because it's so unbelievable.
Yeah.
That you could have such a ease in life.
Yes.
I have tons and tons of stories because like I said, I've been using it for years and years, and it never ceases to amaze me. Even when a new thing comes out, I'm like, oh wow, I didn't think it could get any better.
Yeah, what is it they say? Any technology significantly advanced enough will seem like magic.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So you do a lot of relationship work, help people smooth out relationships. I sent you before our call a lot of information. The birth dates of my parents, my birth dates of some exes, my ex-wife, a significant ex-girlfriend, as well as pictures. May I ask, Marilyn, what did you do with all that stuff?
I did some research.
Okay.
I did some research, and I was kind of looking for what I call the black swan, which is, people think it doesn't exist, but they do exist.
Okay.
I'm looking for something that you wouldn't kind of think of why things went awry, why things maybe went awry or kind of didn't work out for you.
Okay.
So I did want to ask you a couple more questions, because some of it, like, I don't know your ex-girlfriend or your ex-wife. All I have is pictures and birth dates. So I wanted to ask you a couple of questions that would be based on John Miller and Mary Miller's work. It's all about relationships.
Oh, absolutely, because I would love to. This not only will this be eye-opening to me, but I think it's going to be really eye-opening to the listeners. Use me as a guinea pig, and this way they can learn so much about the work that John and Mary have done in I Ching system. So let's go for it.
So I'm going to refer to one of the characteristics. By the way, they have collated about 15 different personality characteristics that are who we are. I mean, they're in our system. It's not something to be judged or to say it's a bad thing. It's simply, if you hang out with it long enough, like I might say some things to you not tonight, and you'll feel like, ooh, ouch, that doesn't really feel like me. But if you kind of try it on and just let it kind of like wear it for a while and see if it fits. Okay. It's easier to do it that way than to take it all in one big chunk.
Okay.
And sometimes I can kind of like, well, we'll try. I'll give my descriptions, and then, if you need more information, we'll go there.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you a question like, when you dress yourself for the day, or when you're going to do something important, do you dress to impress, or do you dress to feel comfortable?
To impress.
Right.
Especially if I'm going to an event where people are going to be there. I mean, if I'm just putting on shoes and pants to run out and get a sandwich for carryout to bring home, I'm a little bit more comfortable. But if I'm going to be where people are, I definitely dress to impress. I tweak in the mirror and make sure my collar's right. Oh yeah.
Right. So that's one of the characteristics of being an external, as John Miller and Mary Miller put in their book. An external feels good because they look good, and they want people to perceive them as fashionable, or knowing that they know how to put themselves together. They call them externals. I think they call them externals because, well, it's kind of obvious. They're more interested in how their external world is going to respond to them. That's definitely me. Yeah, it's like whenever you go to buy a car or buy a house, it's more about, I'm not going to say it's just about this, it just leans in this direction, in that, what is so-and-so going to think now that I bought this car? Or I'm in a neighborhood now with this particular zip code that's desirable. This is really going to look good. It's about the looking good piece. Yeah. Where the opposite of that are what they call internals. Internals feel good. They dress to feel comfortable. I kind of chuckle a little bit because sometimes they look rather, I don't want to be insulting, but my partner said the other day, sometimes if they're really internal, they look like they're homeless. I mean, that sounds kind of negative, but I thought, I never thought about it like that before, and I've been using this material for years. And it's sort of like that. It's like whatever's available. It doesn't have to match. It could be ruffled up. It could be not ironed. You get the picture? I get the picture. That's definitely not me. Yeah, but it's kind of an extreme, and I'm certainly not being rude about anybody because I'm an internal. So I can I can talk about myself, and I can say, well, I don't look like I'm homeless, but there was a time when I wasn't aware of these differences where, and even today, sometimes I don't, it depends on where I'm going, right? And my socks won't be matched or, things like that.
Okay.
So, but what happens as we're evolving spiritually, we get to have more opportunity to move across the spectrum. Let's say there's a midpoint. External is on one side, internal is on the other side, completely down at the other end.
Mm-hmm.
When we evolve, we get to look at ourselves without judgment, and then we get to move along that spectrum. Like, I can be real external if I want to be.
Okay.
And it's not that much effort for me now.
Okay.
And I probably never really go to the other extreme of internal. So I think what happens is we both kind of meet more in the middle. That makes sense.
Sure. Yeah.
And I think it's easy. It's much easier when because a lot of times in life we go like, I don't get that person. I don't get why they're acting the way they are.
Mm-hmm.
But if you understood that their perspective was from the inside, i.e. they're an internal rather than being an external, now you have more understanding and you're like, oh, they look at the world a lot differently than I look at the world.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm going to talk about your ex-wife first.
Okay.
I think her name was Anne.
Yes.
Was Anne.
Anne.
Knowing what you know so far about external versus internal, would you say she's external or an internal?
I would say she's definitely external. She was all about fashion and fashion sense.
Exactly. Yes, yeah. And I could pick that up in her picture.
Okay.
Even though it was a wedding picture, and most people. And this is another thing I want to tell you. You can literally pick it up by looking at people and listening to people and looking at what they're wearing. So when I first started learning this information, my partner and I, we would stand at the bank in line, and we'd say that about that teller, internal. What do you think? Internal? Yeah, okay. Or when we would go to some of Mary Miller's seminars, I would gather up ones that had a certain characteristic that was like me.
Okay.
I wanted to see what we all felt like, what we all looked like.
Okay.
And it was a blast. It was a real blast, because sometimes I would even argue with people, and I'd say, not negatively, but I would say, oh, you're a natural. And they'd say, no, I'm not a natural. I'm an independent. And I'm like, yeah, but you went in my refrigerator, blah, blah, blah. I said, show me your cards. Mary would give us cards telling us what we were.
Okay.
And they would whip it out, and they'd go, oh, my God, she's right. So it's like, it was a lot of fun. It was totally a lot of fun. And for some reason, I was attracted to really understanding it and learning it.
Okay.
And I've been using the information all the time. So now, external, internal. Let me tell you something really significant about it.
Okay.
When you're paired up with an external,
mm-hmm.
even if all the other characteristics are, well, not even, if many of the other characteristics are not matched well,
okay.
When you're paired with an external, if you're an external, it tends to be the glue to the relationship. In other words, you'll stick in it, you'll stay with it. It might not be best for everybody involved, but that external-internal piece seems to be the glue. And the reason why, it's sort of like an umbrella where everything kind of comes underneath it. So you've got this umbrella. You both are external.
Uh-huh.
So I was guessing that your ex-wife, Anne, was an external. I thought, oh, okay, must have been something serious, something abrupt that made them split and go their separate ways.
I'm pretty sure she had a boyfriend on the side. I mean, what I tell my listeners, when I talk about my past relationship, is that we had differences, and and I wasn't. I don't think that I was quite her. I didn't quite take leadership. I was young. I was a callow youth. I didn't understand that a man needs to be a man and needs to kind of take charge of the relationship and lead and make decisions, which I didn't do. I was kind of a kid, when I was in that marriage, and I think that she just kind of became disenchanted, and about year 7, they call it the 7-year itch. She started showing signs of having an affair. I never got confirmation on that, but I was pretty sure that it was going on, and she just dropped out, lost interest, and wanted to leave. Walked away from the house, signed a quitclaim deed. I mean, she just wanted out. Mm-hmm. And it did seem at the time very sudden.
When I looked at the cards of destiny and I looked at how you matched up, you matched up as an ace of spades, which clearly has trust, a lot of trust all over it. Like you need to have trust in the relationship in order for the relationship to work.
Okay.
So evidently that sounds like it got broken down.
Yeah.
And not only that, you have coming into this lifetime, you have an ace of spades as your gift card. As you're coming into this lifetime, you could say, if you believe in past lives, you come with the gift of the ace of spades, which is quite magical. Actually, John Miller has an ace of spades.
Okay.
It's quite a powerful card. It's called the Magi card.
Okay.
It's pretty impressive. So you had it yourself personally coming in, this kind of energy, and then the relationship created that kind of energy together. So trust was really important.
Yeah.
And I don't know, if you broke up because you didn't trust her anymore, or what. She was the one that really wanted out, right?
Yeah, she was the one that wanted out, and my trust certainly disappeared at that point.
Right.
Because
here's another piece. Well, I'm thinking, and I don't know her well enough, and I don't want to be disrespectful, but
let her have it. It's okay.
Well, it kind of feels like to me that perhaps when Mary Miller and John Miller talk about the sexual types, I don't know if that got your attention or not. The
sexual active and inactive. It did get my attention.
To get your attention.
Yeah.
She looked like to me that she was the sexual active.
Yeah.
And how that interprets is that, and don't take this personally because it really, what it interprets is that the other person, if they're not the sexual active, I better use names here so that we don't get confused. If Anne was sexual active, and that doesn't mean she's sleeping with just anybody. It just means that she needs more sexual activity than the other types. There's 4 types, and I like to nickname them. Her type I like to call release. Your type is love. I like to call love, which is, and we'll confirm these as I go along. But love is a person who is, and again, don't take offense, it's just words until we get the complete understanding. Non-sexual active. So non-sexual actives need to feel loved in the relationship or when they're having intimacy. In other words, if a guy is non-sexual active, a lot of times we'll call him a softie, or he's got a big heart, or he's got this heart element because he really needs, or she, even if it's a female. But when we see it in a guy, we think, oh, he's not real macho guy. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's kind of it's a little confusing.
Okay.
So what happens when a sexual active is with a non-sexual active, actually with any of the other sexual types there, they never feel like they're having enough sex. I don't care how much you're giving it, how much you're doing it, they never feel it. It's the oddest thing.
Well, and she was the one that wasn't in the mood for a while.
Was that towards the end?
Yeah. And
probably getting somewhere else if you thought.
Yeah, and
she was.
It's funny. I always thought I would be the more sexually active because I definitely had plenty of sex, and as a single person, I don't really function that way. I can be kind of a slut, and so it's interesting.
Well, you're looking for love. Ultimately, you're looking for love.
Otherwise, I'm not interested in a relationship.
How do I say this? And again, it's all fine-tuning it. It's all fine-tuning it. I'm giving the gross descriptions of it right now, and so it's really fine-tuned.
Okay.
And it gets real fine-tuned, and this is a subject that we could talk probably for 3 days on it. It is really so fascinating.
Okay.
I think if it's still out there, that one section in the book is put out as an e-book.
Okay.
What drives your sexual engine, or something like that.
Yeah, I've seen it.
I want to get back to I want to stick on this for a few more minutes because I want to have some clarity here that people can at least grab it. And maybe use a little information from it. And that, so non-sexual actives, they're looking for love. The sexual actives are looking for release. The inactive non-sexuals are looking for control.
Okay.
And the inactive sexuals are looking for distance. In other words, that's their payoff, ultimately. And even if it's not even conscious, it might not even be conscious. And this is the beauty of evolving. When you're evolving and you have this information, you kind of like, oh, wow, and it's like, it's okay. It's like all of a sudden you feel like, oh, it's okay. It's not a big deal.
Right.
And you start understanding how everybody is. Now, the sexual actives, well, I'm gonna go back a little bit. The non-sexual actives, the ones that are looking for love, they give off the appearance that they're very sexual.
Okay.
Because they're the ones that are looking. They're looking and looking, but they'll do 9 other things before they say, oh, you know what, I need to sleep with my partner or whatever. It's like they have a list of things they have to do before they buckle down and they say, I'm interested. There's always one more thing to do. I got this to do. This is really important. I got this to do. So it's like other things can distract them. But once they get into the bedroom, they're like, you think they're wildly sexual.
Okay.
So that's where it gets a little confusing, and that's where like fine-tuning this really helps.
Okay.
And so for you, it was really important, and this is the thing. If you're not feeling the love aspect from your partner, because they happen to be release people, they don't need all that dance about love and romance. They don't need all of that.
Uh-huh.
They enjoy it. They like it when it comes their way, but that's not their where they're going to spend their attention and their focus and their time on. They're like, hey, I just need to get some release.
Interesting.
Come on already. What are you doing? Get in the bed. It's like this. The non-sexual actives can just keep going and going. So it's kind of hard from that standpoint to understand what's happening. So I'm going to guess, and we really don't know for sure because we're not really talking to Anne, I'm going to guess that she was a sexual active and she found somebody that was more available, more interesting to her at the time. Who knew? Some planets were probably coming in that was making her a little restless.
Uh-huh.
Oh, she does have double queens. She's got 2 queens of clubs, which can be very, if they're evolving, they can be very intuitive and have spiritual insights. But if they're not evolving, it can be kind of difficult because they're clubs. And did you feel like she was giving, like with a critical eye of things that you were doing towards the end? Did you feel that from her?
Very critical.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was very critical, and she was certainly not evolving. She wasn't one for like this sort of work, or for self-improvement, or for God. If I got into Jinn, after her and I had separated. If we had still been together, she would have poo-pooed the hell out of that. That was so. Yeah.
Being a queen, queens, you figure they want to be served, but if they're evolving, they're serving other people. Like if you're really evolving and you have a queen of clubs, you want to use that intuition, you want to use that knowledge that you're getting and learning and growing, and you want to share it and serve other people. Okay. But if you're not, you probably felt her criticalness, like that doesn't do anything for you wanting to jump into bed with her. No, it doesn't. No, we used to, it's funny because she used to tell me that I was she kind of saw me as a bit of a dork, but she used to say, you're the toughest dork I know, because because I had that nice guyism. It's like I would turn on her, and if I felt attacked or judged, I'd be vicious with her, and it'd be a nasty fight. And and I would turn into the bully actually. And so definitely somebody who you want to kill, you definitely don't want to sleep with. And I guess maybe that's the difference between a sexual inactive like me and a sexual active like her. She just can go for the release, So can sexual actives? They're the ones who have all the makeup sex, right? Yes, they can have makeup sex very easily. Well, if there's other characteristics that kind of fit in there, there's other things that it all adds up. Okay. In the end, it all adds up. But your ego card, I call it the ego card. It's the second. It's the planetary ruling card in the cards of destiny. Your ego card is the King of Clubs. So you would be like, oh, the queen's going to challenge me? I don't care if she's really has a lot of power behind her. I'm not going to let her do this.
Yeah, I will shove your power right up your ass, queen. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, you did that.
Yeah, and so it's...
that takes care of you and her, and I can't figure out if you want to... Go ahead, if there's anything else you want to say about Anne and your relationship.
I mean... could that, I mean, knowing what we now know, could it, I mean, because I don't know if I like the term sexual active and sexual inactive, because I don't know if they're entirely accurate. It's like, it's more like sexual dependent and sexual independent, independent. I don't know. It's because I definitely don't feel like a sexually inactive person, but it's very accurate, the piece about in a relationship. Now, when I'm not in a relationship and I'm having casual relationships with women and the heart's not turned on, I can definitely enjoy the release as much as any sexual active, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but
but it's not your driving mechanism.
No, it is not my driving mechanism, because I can take it or leave it.
Right.
I'm not out to get that release at any cost by any means. And
exactly.
Yeah, and
where the difference is?
Yeah, because when I am in an intimate, exclusive relationship, yes, love and trust without them, I'm not sticking around anymore. And believe me, Anne was a wonderful learning piece in my life, because I would never do that crap again. And so I got divorced. I guess we got Anne covered. God, I did love her though. Man, that was a bummer. So we got divorced, and I've played around for a few years. And, I kept my heart well guarded, because it was very wounded, the most wounded it's ever been. And I mean, to the point where, I'll just get real with you in the audience. I had a whopping case of erectile dysfunction for a while. It was all emotional and mental. There was nothing wrong with my physical body, but I was so bushwhacked by the betrayal that, I carried that emotion. I carried that with me into my next relationship. I was still working it out then. Which brings us to Amelia. So after a few years, got together with Amelia. So what do you see there?
Well, Amelia has a lot of force.
A lot of what?
Force.
Force.
F-O-R-C-E, force.
Okay.
It's very forceful.
Yeah.
But what I don't see real clearly is whether she's an external or an internal. And maybe you could, knowing a little bit what you know now about internals and externals, would you say she's an internal or an external? I would,
just based on our conversation and what I now know, I would put her more in the internal camp.
Yes. Okay, so here's what made it confusing for me. And as I was looking at her picture, I'm going to ask you a question. Did she get, how do I say this? Would you find her being a little annoyed at you? Like if you were sitting watching TV and you asked her to get you something, or then and then you would ask her to get something else, and she'd get really annoyed? I shouldn't say really annoyed, but was it ever comfortable for you with her when you would ask her for things?
Absolutely not. In fact, I was kind of almost laughing to myself as you were asking me the question. I knew better than to ask her to go get me a sandwich or anything like that.
Wait a second, that's what I mean. I don't mean to interrupt, but you knew better than to ask her.
Yeah, you asked would she get annoyed? Yes, she would, and I never even asked. In fact, yeah, I just knew not to even. And she was a very.
Okay.
Yeah, she was a very self-centered, fiercely independent. Even now I follow her on social media. She's so wrapped up in herself and her own head. She's really and the entire time we lived together for 2.5 years. She never once made dinner. If I wanted to eat, I was making dinner for us.
Yeah. So here's the thing. She's an internal half. And I was saying to somebody else, it's always hard for me to figure out the internal half. So whenever I can't figure it out, I'm going with that one, and that's what I did. She's an internal half. An internal have, H-A-V-E? Have.
Okay.
H-A-V-E. It's different. I'm getting a little bit of feedback. I didn't talk about the want somethings yet, which is what you and Anne were. You were both external want somethings.
Okay.
And the have the have something energy is different than the want something energy.
How so?
Well, they feel like they have to protect what they have.
Okay.
And it could be nothing. It
Yeah.
could literally be nothing, but they're protecting it at all costs.
Yeah, she was definitely with me toward the end. I remember it was right toward the end of when we finally broke off. We were having dinner with some friends. We were in California. She was living out there at this point, and I was out there on business. And she met up with us, and we were having dinner with some friends. And a friend of mine who's a relationship coach, and he's very energetically sensitive. He's amazing. He's now co-hosting a podcast with Suzanne Venker. He was looking at sitting across the table, looking at the two of us, and he was like really kind of all over her. He's like, I really want to coach you. I want to work with you. And it was almost kind of weird, because it wasn't like he wanted to do her and I together. He wasn't worried about me. He wanted to work with her because he works with a lot of women. And he told me later on after we were finally broken up, he said, I could sense very clearly from her, she had this energy. First of all, the two of you had this very special bond that I don't think she's ever going to find again with anyone else. And it's a shame for her to let it go. But she had this energy toward you of, you're not going to tell me what to do. It was like she had this defensive wall up that you're not going to tell me what to do. And he was very much correct. I mean, it was like I was trying to tell her, like, look, if you want to have this relationship, you need to stop screwing around in California and come home. And, of course, she was having none of that. But didn't want to let go of the relationship either. She kind of wanted to like have it both ways. And I think that was just indecisiveness. But, yeah. And so there was definitely, I see that as a character flaw to her own detriment. I mean, maybe it's just the way she is, but it ain't serving anything.
Well, yeah, it sounds like, Mary Miller also talks about the independent person. It's in the book there. But I'm going to say that her being an internal have and you being an external want, you didn't have the glue at all. You didn't have the glue at all to keep this relationship together. How long were you together?
We were together 5.5 years.
And she was living with you the whole time?
No, I mean, we were together for a couple of years before we moved in. Mm-hmm. And I remember, thinking at the time, like, okay, we'll see. We're moving in together now, so we'll see if this is really going to work. We'll give it a year. And, when we renew the lease, and so a year went by, and I'm like, well, I'm not sure yet. And it was like, and so it was kind of like this, because, we loved each other, but it just didn't work. And so it was like this.
I was going to say, it sounds like she was a non-sexual active person. Like, it feels like to me now that she had more warm and fuzzy than Anne had.
More what?
Warm and fuzzy, what I call warm and fuzzy.
Warm and fuzzy than Anne? Yes. I mean, Anne had the sexy sultry going on, but, Amelia was more like warm. Yeah, it had a warm and fuzzy element. And I think that was probably part of the attraction, and that was kind of because it was a difference from Anne. It was something I didn't get with Anne.
Yep. And so that's the non-sexual active that I was talking about. So she probably needed, just as much as you needed, to feel that the other person really, really loved her.
Oh, yeah, she definitely did. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that was fun for you, wasn't it?
That was what?
Fun, when you had that with her, when you had that kind of, in the beginning, when you had that kind of, you felt she was crazy about you and you were crazy about her. That must have been fun. That was
what got me into it. I mean, it was like, I remember thinking the thing I love most about her is the way she makes me feel about me, or the way she makes me feel appreciated.
Yeah, that's it. That's definitely the love people.
Yeah, and so it was great until it wasn't. Her attention went elsewhere, and then it's like, damn it, what are you doing? You're screwing up.
Well, the fact that she wanted to live in California, it's kind of like there was something there for her, something she was trying to find for herself.
Yeah.
And she was much younger than you, too, right?
Yeah, about 17 years younger. She's 29 now, I think.
Wow. She's still very young.
You know what, though?
I tell you what you guys had, too. You also had a 10 of spades between the two of you.
Okay.
And that is success on top of success on top of success. But you had to work hard for it. So, like, if you guys had thought about, I don't know if you ever talked about doing something together and to make money or anything like that?
Not really.
Not really. Well, it could have worked.
Huh.
It'll work.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, I never really, I don't know if I would ever want to be in business with my significant other or spouse.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, no, and we never really pursued that. She supported me in what I was doing. It would even help me. She did graphic design for my websites and stuff, which were awesome. I was always, my Facebook profile picture to this day is because she was a photographer too. It was a picture she took. So yeah, anything she ever did for me was like wonderful. Like any work any artistic or creative work she did for my business was always like top notch. So yeah, I could see that.
What's on the horizon for you? What's on the horizon? Is there anybody that's kind of caught your eye?
No, absolutely not. I am actively avoiding relationships right now. I am building. I'm building my business, and it's for me, Marilyn. Right now, it's all about business, money, success, and looking good.
Your external piece, huh?
Yeah, it's all about because that's what I'm feeling is lacking right now. I really want to build my business to where I want it. I want to get my audience to where I want it. I want to get I have some personal income goals. That's really, and I want to look damn good at the party. But you know what I mean? And that's so I want all the external stuff. That's real, and this is 2020, clear vision, manifestation. That's what I want. And my attitude, and I'm getting really, really raw with you right now, is if I'm never in another love relationship for the rest of eternity, fuck it. Okay, now I have to put an explicit on this episode. But that's just kind of my attitude about it right now. I'm like, I don't need it. I don't have room for it. I'm a little bit transient at the moment. With my living situation, so I'm really not, I'm really not feeling the call. So this is probably right when it'll happen, right?
Oh yeah, that's true. That's how it does happen. But you know what? At least you have a resource to tap and to check things out a little bit more from an energetic perspective.
Let me tell you, if it were to happen that I were to connect with a woman and really feel a strong connection and want to be with her, I would be taking fingerprints. I would be getting her birthday. I would be coming to you. I would be coming to Shelley. I would be coming to a couple of, there's a Vedic palmist I know in Toronto. I mean, I would be running things 6 ways from Sunday before I would even move the relationship forward.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. And it makes a lot of sense. In some cultures, the adults, I think even to this day, I'm not sure, they match up the children to be married. I don't mean the real young ones, the ones that are, the way they do it where it's not humanitarian.
No, I know.
But the adults, but what they do is they look at all the astrology charts and they pick out women for them to go out on dates with that they feel they'll be more successful with in life, and the marriage will be more successful. So,
there's a lot of wisdom in that, I think. And I do know about the cultures, like in the Vedic cultures, I know that they do that.
Yes. And Mary said all the time, it's all in the math. It's really mathematical. She said, if you could see how mathematical it is, it would just blow your mind. It's, here we think it's our emotions, our feelings, this, the that. It's all numbers. It's all, everything is moving the way it's moving, and we're just little pawns that are getting picked up in the rift of it all.
I will repeat myself one more time. Any technology significantly advanced seems like magic, and it's all mathematical calculations. That's what I Ching is all about. And yes, and so yeah, and so it would have been really nice to know this stuff before I got myself all beat up. If I could go back to young David and educate him, oh boy, would that be a different life.
Yeah, but David wouldn't be who he is today.
This is true. There would be no Alpha Shift, no podcast,
That's right.
Yeah, I'd just be too happy having gotten everything right all the time.
You would have never forced through. You wouldn't have forced yourself through the birth canal.
Yeah.
And isn't it exciting? I mean, you are really fortunate that you have stumbled across this. and very, very fortunate, because I feel fortunate myself and for my family. Because it's not like mainstream. It's not like, out there everywhere. You kind of have to seek.
Yes.
You kind of have to seek and find mission.
Yeah.
And you found it. So, and you realized that how powerful it was. That's
yes.
The second part. So, kudos to you. Good for you.
Well, thank you. I had some help. You guys all know Johan Hendricks. He was like kind of, he and I are friends from GIN, from the Global Information Network, and he knew what I was going through in life and what I was trying to do, and he's like, I really strongly suggest you consider. He would send me emails on a regular basis that you get the Fibonacci system from I Ching Systems, and I'm like, whatever, what is this? It's the artwork thing. This is like about a year ago, and I'm like, the artwork stuff, and I'm like, okay, let me go look at it. Wow, I looked at the price. I'm like, are you kidding me? This is what I need right now. And but I finally, at his behest, I was emailing back and forth with Lee. And then at our Denver event last summer, I sat down with Shelley for a while and had a long talk. And that was it. I said, I'm doing this. And that was, and the first thing I ever bought from them was the Fibonacci Mars and Moon stack and the Color Block 3 stack. I just went right at it. And
what did that feel like to you? Like overall, what was your first, when you got that up on the wall and whatever? Can you remember what the feeling was?
Yeah, I just loved looking at it, and it was like, this is cool, and. I'm like, okay, I was expecting some sort of magical, everything was going to wake up different, and nothing happened at first. And then I lost a client, and then this girl that I was interested in, at that point, went off with some other guy, and I'm like, what the fuck? I want to tear this thing back off the wall, but.
Oh, wow, she wasn't right for you.
She wasn't right for me, and the Fibonacci got the hell rid of her. And what has started to happen is, because I know that, and to give a little primer to the audience, a Fibonacci symbol, the Fibonacci is the symbol that appears in nature. The solar system is arranged by it. Flower buds arrange in a Fibonacci system. Maybe for the video of this podcast, I'll put a superimposition up of what the Fibonacci looks like. And what this piece of artwork does, when John Miller customizes it to you with your astrology and your numbers, is it basically gets your life on course in what is your perfect Fibonacci pattern, what you came into this life to do. And so when you're 46 years old, or I just turned 46 when I got my Fibonacci, and your life is off course, the Fibonacci is going to start putting your life on course. And if you're way off course, it's going to feel like you're swerving a car from one side of the freeway to the other, I think. And and which is what the last few months have been.
Wow.
Yeah, and so it's like old friends that shouldn't really be in my life. They were sucking my energy, disappeared. Clients disappeared, and they needed to go, because what happened is that steady income from these accounts that were draining my energy were keeping me from pursuing my own dreams and my own dharma, I guess. And so now what's happening is I'm feeling the pressure from all around, but I'm getting up early in the morning. My creativity is flowing, and I'm creating. And so, wonderful things are happening, but I'm not going to say it's totally comfortable. It's like, holy crap. But if you're really ready to create what you want, and I will say this too, also with a Fibonacci, you get what they call a Mars and Moon stack. And these hexagrams balance your energy with the divine masculine and the divine feminine, basically all masculine and feminine, and with, your kind of father and mother energy. And when I got the Mars and Moon stacks, my relationship with my mother, which was certainly very troubled, really started to improve by leaps and bounds. We laugh now, and we get along with a harmony that I don't think we've ever had. And so that is a virtually miraculous, very all the way around positive net effect that I've had thus far. Is, my relationship with my mother has been, and I wonder if that's going to affect, the improved relationship with my mother is going to affect future relationships with women.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Hands down.
Yeah. And so I think that was a missing piece for me. I think I I think some of the anger that would come forth from me in intimate relationships was anger at my mother. And, and that just makes sense. I mean, anybody listening to this is like, well, yeah, no shit, dude. That's definitely going to come out that way. And so, I knew that before I was going to pursue, because I am active, non-sexual. So yes, I am looking for love in my relationships, but I'm not doing it. I'm not going back there until I know I got the tools to succeed. Because when my last relationship, when that came apart, I made a promise to myself, I am never going through this experience again. I'm not suggesting that every relationship will last for eternity, but I'm never going to feel thrown out on the street, unprepared, screwed. If next relationship, if I have to end it, I'm going to end it voluntarily and on good terms. I'm not going to end up on my ass again. And I meant that. And so, yeah, things are falling into place to make sure that circumstance, that I don't create that sort of a calamity again.
Well, I think you have the tools now to help you
Absolutely.
do that. So as you made that promise or that commitment to yourself, life took you down this path to find the tools that you needed.
Absolutely. Yes, it did. And I think I Ching Systems and all of you, I mean, it's been so wonderful. I really, you know what, Marilyn, I'm going to find a way. I'm going to get to that. I'm going to get to that event in April.
Good for you.
I don't know if I could manage it knowing it's going on and I'm not there. I just don't know.
Listen, I'm always going. I'm always going.
Okay.
I don't try to figure out, am I going or not going? I'm always going, unless an emergency or something that I can't control comes up, then I don't go. But I never, ever schedule anything in that I have control over.
Right. Getting together with my I Ching family is one of those life-affirming things that just must be done. And so...
I think it's worthwhile.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I love getting together with you guys. And so... And it's I mean, that color block 3 stack, I really should have brought it into the studio so I could have shown it to the camera, but I'll put a picture of it. With the element, there's a clearing tool that we're all using that balances our energy, and the latest version of it, Marilyn was talking about, they're always upgrading in new versions. The latest version infuses us with self-love and gets rid of self-hate. I think that is like a miraculous tool.
That's it. That's the shit, if I may say so myself.
Oh my goodness! The way that we so the audience knows the way that we define self-hate. The way self-hate comes in, and it can come from past lives. Self-hate can be a situation where you did something that you had to do. Maybe it was the only choice, the only thing you could do in that particular situation, and you got in trouble for it. You were reprimanded for it. You were, chastised for it, and you kind of start to shut down. That's where self-hate comes from. And self-hate can manifest itself as being apologetic, or even in the way that you love people. Anything that's like a codependent pattern, or something that's just not life affirming. Yeah, and
not good for you.
Yeah, that's not good for you. And this instrument, this energetic clearing instrument, and the thing really works, by the way. So for any of my guys who are watching this and think, "Wow, Dave's getting woo-woo," let me tell you something. I put this thing around my chest and have it sitting on my heart. After about 15 minutes, my chest is hot. So this thing is really working. And I can be in the middle of an anxiety attack, like, oh my God, what am I do? Who am I to start this business? What am I going to do? How am I going to get the bills paid at the end of the month? Blah, blah. And I put this thing on, and after 15, 20 minutes, I'm like, yeah, it's all good. I'm good. And I'm back at 100%. And what a miracle that is. And now after a few months, it's like I am really building something big. I've got momentum going on. I've noticed a big difference in the way that people kind of perceive me. I project, me being an external. I'm even starting to talk in these terms. Me being an external, I've noticed that I'm received that much better. That it's like good energy external. And so, I'm really seeing some amazing. The math is working in my favor, isn't it, Marilyn?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So
I'm really fortunate that I've had the opportunity to meet you and to see what it's doing for you. That always is a inspiration.
Thank you. Yeah, you guys don't have a lot of. I'm like one of the newbies, So you guys are seeing someone who just kind of came in brand new.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of the I Ching family's been, at it for years, and so.
Yes. And it's also interesting if you ever get a chance to talk to some of the old timers. Their stories are really interesting. How it was in the very beginning, I heard the story that when they very, very first started with these little cards, they didn't have an idea of what the cards were capable of doing, cards with artwork on them.
Huh.
And they left the material, they left it in the front porch, and people would come by to the front porch and just use it, and maybe leave a donation, maybe not, it didn't matter. They were just collecting data, doing their research, figuring out, could it really help people?
Okay.
They had no idea. They had no idea what they stepped into. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
I think that's just crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, and I got to admit, I was skeptical. I'm like, what are little cards and artwork? What is that going to do? I mean, honestly,
I don't know.
Yeah. But you know what? Mary, Kevin Trudeau, who started the Global Information Network, he and Mary were very tight. And he had her, I mean, she did several webinars for Jin. And I got to admit, I didn't really watch them. It was always more about the money-making stuff. But in our level 6 training, it's delivered over 2 days. It's all audio that Kevin does, but and it's all him except for 1 hour-long audio by Mary Miller, where he asks her to come in.
Oh, I've heard that.
And,
I heard that whole thing.
Yep. He asked her to come in and talk about the power of symbols, and that got me thinking, okay, if this is important enough that he gives her an hour of level 6 training, and then level 7. I just did level 7 phase 1 when I was in Los Cabos, and that was the last thing she ever did for Jen before her passing. She did about an hour for the level 7 training. And again, she's like a very special, person that they bring her in especially to present this stuff. I mean, that's they hold her in very high esteem. And they hold I Ching systems in very high esteem. And, Mary was the contact. And so I'm like, I'm kind of like, maybe I need to pay more attention to this. And I'm finding it to be. And I will say, too, that a few weeks ago in Los Cabos, a lot of my friends who previously did not have any I Ching systems, I saw a lot of those 3 stacks get sold. A couple of my friends from Germany bought them. And are still using them to great effect, and so it's starting to, I'm starting to see it just with the people I know who weren't. It's spreading, and I'm glad to see that. I'm glad to see people really getting benefit from these tools.
That's exciting. That's very exciting.
And of course, now I'll evangelize it till the cows come home.
So we'll see you in April.
Yes, you'll see. I already booked the hotel room. I mean, I got right on that. So. Yeah, because last time I had to stay at a hotel like 5 miles away because I booked like 2 weeks before the event.
That doesn't work. Because we can't stop talking to each other.
Yeah.
So like through the hallway, come to my room, let's talk, let's do this, let's do that. So yeah.
Oh yeah, I was driving back very, very late at night because of that. Yeah.
Oh.
So,
okay,
but I didn't know. I had just bought my Fibonacci, and Lee just sent me an email. She's like, in 2 weeks we're having our family reunion in Cape Cod. I hope you can make it. And I'm like, it's 2 weeks, but yes, I had this internal yes, like I'm just gonna go. I'll figure it out, and so I got out there. Although this time I'll probably fly instead of drive. It was a long drive.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it was about 11 hours, 12 hours.
Yeah.
And so
there's some people that come from Canada that sort of drive along the north state or the northern states. Maybe,
okay.
I don't know. You could leave a car anywhere somewhere.
Yeah, I think.
Well.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm feeling just catch a cheap flight and just go out there, just do that.
Yeah, catch a flight, and then there's Jimmy that picks up people for a fee from the airport if you need a ride.
Who will?
And Jimmy, he does rides from the airport.
Okay, great.
Jimmy. I don't know if you remember who Jimmy was.
I don't remember Jimmy, but that's okay. I will get in touch with him, and that'll be perfect.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah.
And if you're coming in the same time as somebody else, you can share the ride. So it kind of all works out.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, I really think that these advantages and these tools should be used by everybody. I mean, I wouldn't go into a major life decision or a major relationship again without the benefit of, I mean, if you can get an advantage to where you can have a really good probability of success, why wouldn't you want to take advantage of that? You know, I mean, I think
good question.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good question. And so why? I mean, I see this from time to time, so you wonder why.
Yeah.
You wonder why.
I mean,
just speculate.
I think people just don't believe that anything can help them, and they think that it's a crapshoot, and that, you know, what will be, and it's just fate. Screw all that. You know, success leaves clues, and there is a code you can figure out. You know, and people, because I look around and I see some people have even young people have very successful marriages, and it just works. They don't have difficulty. They don't have a lot of, everybody has some challenges, but they don't have exceptional challenges. They're not better than anyone else. They're just well matched.
Yeah, it's just working for them. It just happens to work for them.
Yeah, it's just working for them. And so,
it's a thing. Here's what Mary Miller always used to say. She said, it's like going up a down escalator.
Yeah.
There's always something that's kind of pulling us back down. And
yeah.
So you need whatever support you can get to just get you up that escalator that's coming down.
Yes. You know, and I really want, you know, the next time I, you know, go into the fray and am in love, I want it to be a situation where I'm set up to win, not set up to lose. And so.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good plan.
Yeah. You know, that's what I want, and that's what I'm going to want for my guys. And so my coaching clients are probably going to be hearing a lot about I Ching systems. So anyway, Marilyn, we are about at the end of our time.
Alrighty.
Thank you so much. In fact, I might have to, I think for some of my coaching clients, can I refer them to you? Would you do coaching for men working on this stuff?
Oh, of course I would.
Okay, fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that.
Oh, fantastic. I think this is the beginning of a beautiful thing, Marilyn. So,
I think so too.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for being on the show. I'm going to, in the show notes for this episode, I will be putting a link to your website so people can learn more about you. That is jochari.com, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, fantastic. I will have a link to that in the show notes.
I love talking about all this stuff. Thank you.
Thank you. Me too. Well, anyway, Marilyn, you have a great night. And if I don't talk to you in the meantime, I will see you in April.
Will do.
All right.
Looking forward to it.
All right. Thank you. Good night.